right, we got some more big matchups throughout the NFL. Lions, Cowboys, Giants, Bengals. We're previewing both of these right after this. One of the biggest matchups of the weekend with big time playoff implications in the NFC. Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys, and how are the Dallas Cowboys going to block up this Detroit Lions defensive front that's been so dominant for points during the season, and specifically one Aiden Hutchinson, who leads the NFL in pressures, despite already having a bye week by 11 still. Man's got 40 pressures according to Pro Football Focus through 4 games, averaging 10 per game. What do you do if you're the Cowboys up front to try to mitigate that and still be able to run your drop back passing game, Kyle?
I think without a doubt, you're going to have elite levels of communication with the backs and the tight ends that whenever you have Aiden Hutchinson in the ball game, which is a lot, as you and I talk about, the guy's volume is off the charts. He never leaves the football field. We need to have 2-3 sets of eyeballs on this guy, and we need to get a piece of him. I need rib cage. I need a little bit of leg. I need some shoulder. I need this guy to feel you every single time, because unabated, he will get home. He will ruin your game plan as an offense. And we played against a number of these guys when I was in the NFL. When I first got there, it was Clay Matthews. He could be anywhere. He was nonstop. He had a motor that wouldn't quit. And if you didn't hit him with 2-3 people a play, he'd make you pay for it. I don't think there is a real good answer to this question here, but we're going to make it even more difficult than it would be with a running back and a tight end. Obviously, you got to stick to your technique and shoot your shot. Use your hands as an offensive lineman. Don't catch the guy. He's bigger than he looks on film. He's one of these guys on film that looks to be nimble and maybe a little bit smaller than you anticipate. You see him in person, he's like 6'7", okay? He's Hercules out there. You need to get multiple people on Aiden Hutchinson at the beginning of the play.
And hopefully the Cowboys learned a lot from the Steeler game when they singled up T.J. Watt. That wasn't smart at all. So to your point, you have to bring bodies extra bodies to Aiden Hutchinson. Don't allow him to be one-on-one, because your tackles, both tackles, have been vulnerable, especially when they're playing against high-level pass rushers. Aiden Hutchinson is a bigger Max Crosby. His motor never cuts off. He's relentless. He has hand moves. He has power. He has speed. But he's bigger, to your point, Kyle. So think about that. Just picture Max Crosby being 267, 260-ish. That's Aiden Hutchinson. So one thing I would say, outside of all the sound advice that Kyle gave us, pretty much saying it's not really an answer, but you got to try something, the snap count is super imperative. Because one thing about Aiden Hutchinson, with him being the size that he is, his first step is unbelievable. And if he can get a real good read on your snap count, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So the snap counts for Dallas, they're super important. You got to find a way to kind of get him off that read, because if he gets that good read, guys, you see it time and time and again. That first step gets him going, and no one is slowing him down.
And I think it's Pascal. It's Pascal on the other side. He's going to be over Guyton. And we talked about this earlier, Mike. You're talking about Aiden liking to play on the one side. Well, the guy Guyton, who's been banged up, we don't know if he's going to be out there. Who's going to be the backup this week, Mike? Either way, the matchup does not bode well for the Cowboys. And they're in a kind of a catch-22 here, because you're going to be bringing the slide to Aiden Hutchinson. Somebody's going to be singled up. That's an issue. And another thing I don't like, some of these offensive coordinators tend to think that maybe 2 tight ends equal to 1 offensive tackle and protection. We can put an elite rusher up. No. Yeah. It ain't working. Don't even mess with it. Just keep a tight end or a running back with your tackle, and you'll be better off.
Yeah, Guyton did practice yesterday, so hopefully he is a go. But obviously, easier said than done. And also, he's a rookie getting banged up early on in his career, going up against NFL caliber pass rushers. Doesn't always end well. There's another D-line, O-line matchup that I wanted to get to that looks like a little bit of a mismatch. And we know it's not going to end well necessarily for the Cincinnati Bengals and their offensive line going against this Giants D-line that has taken over so many games this season. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, both guys playing at such a high level. You have to account for both play in and play out. What do you do, Kyle, if you're an offensive lineman heading into a game like this? What's a game plan look like for the Cincinnati Bengals to make sure you keep Joe Burrow upright and make sure that your running game can have a little bit of success against what's been such a good defense so far this year?
Well, what I'm about to say about the Bengals, I'm going to preface it with this. The tackles have been playing better than expected. Orlando Brown Jr. doing a good job. He's taking care of his body. He's a real vet at this point, so it's all about taking care of your body. And with Trent Brown went down at right tackle, we get Amarius Mims. I actually kind of like this matchup with Amarius Mims. He's a big physical specimen. He's an athletic dude, a freak show, raw, maybe technically inadequate at times, but one thing he's going to do is compete. And when I think about that matchup there with the edge rush, I think he can hold his own there. The issue is going to be Lawrence in the middle. And we talk about this all the time. The integrity of the dish. And when I say dish, that's the pocket. You hear people say pocket all the time. It's a dish. It's supposed to be a beautiful thing, like your grandmother's china. It's circular and it's clean. And at the very center of it is where the quarterback stands in the eye of the storm, and he makes his throws. And how do you protect that? With the three guys in the middle. You have to commit to sliding to Dexter Lawrence. You cannot and you can ask him, if you put one on me, you're just wrong. You have to put two on him. You have to be cognizant of where he is. He cannot ruin your game plan. Just like we were talking about Aiden Hutchinson with the previous game, this is the guy that you circle and say, we can't let him beat us. We have to let Burns earn it on the edge. And the quarterback can step up, and you should be okay for the Bengals.
And the thing about Cincinnati, to your point, yes, the offensive line, they've done a better job than what we've seen in years past. But they're okay in becoming one-dimensional. And when you're playing against a Giants defense that will come into this matchup with a lot of confidence, rhythm is super important. Rhythm-like throws, utilizing tempo, trying to kind of get the Giants pass rushers kind of off balance a little bit. So utilize the rhythm. And then when you look at Cincinnati, they're okay in not running the football or being successful in running the football. They're like our version of the Houston Oilers back in the day when they perfected the run and shoot and just threw it all across the yard. That's what Cincinnati does. And they're at their best when they're doing so. You know how most offenses, you don't want to be one-dimensional because it's very, very hard for you to be successful. For Cincinnati, the hell with the running game, we can throw the football and we can be successful in doing so. And to that point that I just made, if they would have threw the ball after the turnover in overtime, they would have won. That's the time they wanted to run the football. It was like, whoa, y'all didn't really run the football the entire ball game. Now you get a big time turnover. You kind of feel like you're in the cusp of being in field goal range. Now you want to run the football? No, throw it around the yard. Because when Joe Burrow has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, just those two guys, he is unstoppable. And since T. Higgins he's come back in the lineup, Joe Burrow numbers has improved and Jamar Chase numbers has improved. So this is a nice test for the Giants because what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, especially a week ago, is it fool's gold or they really like that? If they really like that, they're going to earn it against Cincinnati.
I was just thinking, B-Mac, I was just thinking about what you were saying there and the toll it takes on a defensive front, particularly a guy like Dexter Lawrence when he's getting double teamed, when he's trying to convert speed to power, or if he's just going bull rush. I always invited a bull rush because that's going to wear you down quick. It's like going to CrossFit and pushing that thing on the ground. Eventually, you're going to vomit, man. You can do that as much as you want, and you can be Hercules in the first quarter, but eventually it's going to make you pay. And to your point about Joe Burrow, there's only a handful of quarterbacks that I would say I could protect for right now at 36. Joe Burrow is one of them because I know the ball will be out on time. Tua Tagovailoa is another one of those in that McDaniel offense. But for the Bengals, it's obvious pass all the time because Joe Burrow's on the field. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase as well.
I will say this, Giants will be without Kayvon Thibodeau in this game, so a little bit easier go there for this Bengals offensive line. And yeah, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. The mismatch is so big on the outside with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Just do whatever you can to keep Joe Burrow upright. That's the case. He has time. Bengals, I think, run away with this one.